Welcome to the bold analysis. Outside the chest thumping and bravado by the president, things are falling apart within the UDA party. And in this podcast, I'm going to narrow down to three emerging factors why the president is not having the comfort he's projecting before Wanjeku after the by-elections. In politics, there is the reality, and there is that which you want the masses to gather. As we get deep into this, ladies and gentlemen, I will still want to ask you to support us. Me and my team, we are in Kilifi, and we're in Kilifi to respond to a distress of a widowed lady of 6 children who is stranded and in dire need of a house. The story of Mama Zawadi, for those who are hearing for the first time, when I was here last year, we were here to build a house for some 2 disabled brothers. Her case was brought to me. She was in the streets, na watoto. And why she was in the Watamu streets is because where she was married, the husband died, and then the relatives chased her. Because remember, everyone, these areas, everyone is looking for somewhere to get a land. So she was homeless and was in the street for some time. So before I left, we made plans, and akapelekwa mahali ambapo alizaliwa, where a structure was set up for her, akapewa shamba. So when I was called last week, when I came here, I found out her situation. I came here early this week. I found out her situation was in Danid. This is the place she was living. The house is in such a mess.
Maana nimeona mkaika hii.
Mkaika hii karatasi kwa sababu ya hao watoto wasiosha.
Hao watoto wadogo. Changamoto nyingine labda ipo kwa hii nyumba vile ipo.
Changamoto ni hiyo makuti, sababu ya makuti. Ndio sina nafasi sina fedha ya kununua makuti
na iko katika hali mbaya sana, hata inaweza ikaanguka. Now, I need to tell you guys that umama mpitia sana. Even the child crying there, that child, she got that child when she was in the street. Yeah, that's the sad turn of it. So I realized that an intervention kumjengea for her to get a house is going to establish her, impatie stability, akae nyumbani. My team is also starting tomorrow we've already spoken with her. Of course, kuna a lot of stereotypes and traditional hardcore huku for the Gremias people, Giriama, yeah? People who come from this place understand. But we've reached a consensus, and she's going to have some birth control measure early this week. But I'm here to establish for Mama Zawadi house. Yes, guys, and I want to say thank you very much. Today is the 3rd day. Today is Saturday. We have done the wall. We are actually finishing the wall by today. The next phase of this project is the roofing. For the roofing, I need 26 mabatis. Each mabati goes at around 1,200, that I've been told. Bao and sumari in paying the fundi. The roofing will gobble around 50,000 between today and tomorrow. That is what I want to ask you guys to come through for, tuweze kununua. By Monday, we will finish up na dirisha na mlango, and this project will be done. And so for now, guys, that is the deficit I have. And you can support even in kind. Kama uko sehemu hii, hata ukinunua mabati moja, hata ukinunua mabati mbili, we need to do that. If I get 50,000, we'll be able to finish the roofing so that Monday Tuesday, we finish the project and God will bless us. And thank you very much. Thank you very much for responding to my call to stand in the gap for this. This is why the foundation came up. I mean, it's the political podcast. And thank you. I hope that we'll stand in to support. Her case is very tough, but it's worth the support. Didmas Baraza, who is eyeing for Nairobi, who is eyeing for Bungoma governor, is already hinting at ditching Moses Wetangula's party. And as this is after the Kabuchai loss. And I want us to look at what he said in his Facebook page at the moment. This is what he said. Siasa ya Bungoma imebadilika. Sitaki kuzama na mtu amebebwa na maji. I let it go. Kabuchai Chwele has shown the way.
Bandu beumula mlembe. Mlembe swa. Siasa ya Bungoma sasa imebadilika. Siasa ya Bungoma, wananchi wa Bungoma wamekataa watu ya kuletwa. Wananchi wa Bungoma wamekataa viongozi ambao wameendelea kuuza matumaini miaka nenda miaka rudi. Wanataka suluhisho ya matatizo ambayo wananchi wanapitia kila siku. Na mimi ningependa kusema hili. Nohoko mundu wamutirire esweta malali mmechi mwitisi alihoke siha nohaka kumuokoa uruhwesa.
This Kabuchai Chwele he is talking about, Ford Kenya lost to an independent candidate. And it is not lost on him. This Didmas Baraza wants to be governor. And the team that camped in Kabuchai are largely the DAPK team with a rebel Ford Kenya MP, Majimbo Kalasinga, leading the campaigns. And it's very clear that Wetangula losing an MCA seat, just MCA seat, in his own ward, where he comes from, ward, he could not convince his villagers to vote for his Ford Kenya candidate. It is not something that a governor hopeful has taken lightly.
See, mimi sijawahi ona in a by-election ambaye tunakuwa na over 50% turnout ya wapiga kura. Hii ndio ilikuwa inaonesha imani ya watu wa Chwele Kabuchai in Eric Wekesa na sisi wote kama marafiki wa Eric Wekesa, Mheshimiwa Gavana wa Ngamati na mimi Mheshimiwa Majimbo tukiwemo. Sasa nasema asante sana. Watu wa Chwele Kabuchai mmetutoa kwa aibu. Watu wa Chwele Kabuchai mmenionea huruma kwa ile walinifanyia. Mlionea huruma kwa wale ambayo wa ile chama ile walifanya kuja kupika mama yangu. Wale vile walikuja kupika mali yangu hoteli yote chini mchana. Wale walikuja kupika nyumba yangu yote chini mchana, si usiku. Wale watu walitoa marisasi wakaua mzee ambaye naenda kusika tarehe 6 next month. Msakuru Munyange 70 years. Wale watu ambayo wamekatwa watoto matumbo iko nje bado wanaendelea hapo hospitali kutibiwa. Nataka kushukuru watu imani yao. Mfanyikazi wangu wa Boma tuko hapa ndani ya hospitali wanaenda kutoa miguu yote mbili na mkono kwa sababu walikatwa mabanga kwa Boma saa 6 mchana. Anaitwa Charles Maina.
And it is very clear that so many things are going to change on that by-election. Behind the bravado, just thumping and narrowing on how Kindiki Rigathi contest went through, in deep down, something is not sinking well. And to tell you that the president is not taking the comfort that he's casting on Mwananchi, Ruto has summoned a meeting in State House and is targeting Newton Karish, the Democratic Party candidate in Mbeere North, Seth Panyako, the DAP-K candidate from Malava, Philip Aroko, Kasipul, Stanley Kenga, the DCP candidate from Magarini, and reports are that the state might line up some jobs for these election losers with an intent of consolidating the votes that will spill over to the opposition. And in Malava, Farouk Kibet was actually signaling that him and Dakwa are working on how they can work with Panyako ahead of the next election.
Mimi nakuomba kwa unyenyekevu ndugu yangu Ndakwa, wewe president ni rafiki yako, ombea kasi Panyako aingie kwa kasi. Malava hoye! Tunataka watu ya Malava wawe kitu moja. Wale walikupigia kura na wale hawakukupigia, usikawanye watu ya Malava ndugu yangu Ndakwa. Mtoto ambaye hakupata basari na alipigia Seth Panyako ni mtoto wa Malava.
Nataka kumwambia Your Excellency, kuna mwenzangu mwenye napongeza, tulipambana naye kama mwanaume, anaitwa Seth Ambusini Panyako. Mimi nasema ya kwamba umkumbuke, umpatie kazi, hata yastahili kuishi kama wengine.
So these are the candidates. All the other opposition candidates, and the president understands that some of these people that were campaigning, they've used their resources and they're very vulnerable and they might seek these positions in future. Someone like Newton Karish, even Duncan Bui, the CCK candidate from Mbeere North. Newton Kariuki was actually an MCA who resigned. And we are looking at those by-elections of those MCAs, these are by-elections out, wondering how it will go. He resigned. So, and with all that has drained, is now jobless. Duncan Bui was also an MCA, resigned. So, with these dynamics, I think the state wants to take advantage of that vulnerability of the candidates that were vying through the opposition tickets so that they can consolidate the vote under UDA. And maybe, just like what happened in Malava, where Musalia Mudavadi dished some jobs to some aspirants. All the other aspirants who are vying in Malava, Ryan Injendi, who was not comfortable with the UDA nomination, was given some job by Musalia Mudavadi as a trade attaché in South Africa. So, there have been a bit of that has been going on, and the president is not stopping at it. UDA purge is also targeting Boni Khalwale, the government chief whip, who seemed to have defected and joined the campaign trail for Seth Panyako alongside George Natembeya. I don't come from Mbeere, but I've listened to some explanation by a lady here. People come from Mbeere North can explain to us. He's saying Mbeere North, she's attributing Mbeere North the recent UDA victory in the tightly contested election against Newton Karish to the widespread poverty and marginalization, pointing to challenges such as underdeveloped infrastructure, limited access to basic services, and economic hardships that make voters more vulnerable to inducements and political influence.
Before mnyi mfungue mdomo mwanze kutusi wa Mbeere hapa mkisema vile, let's just agree that poverty is a problem. Me, I have grown up in Mbeere. I know the problem in that place. I have visited so many of you in your places. Nyinyi wenye mnatuwatch hapa mkisema wa Mbeere mlitufail, mlitufanya nini? Poverty is a problem. Mimi, I have told you I come from Mbeere. And let me tell you, wenye nimevisit hapa, nakuja kwenyu na kuuliza huku ni ushago, because I'm totally surprised. I just wonder how ushago inaweza kaa hivyo. Watu wetu wa Murang'a hapa, mimi nakujana kwenyu na shangaa, huko ni ushago ama ni? Like, how do you tell me that lami iko hadi kwa kwenyu karibu na kwa nyumba? Mimi Even as early as when I was used to be in campus, nilikuwa nafika Embu na kuwa stranded because I don't know even how to figure out from there. I learned how to drive when I was in second year because nikifika Embu town ninaomba mtu kagari ndio niweze kufika kwetu, otherwise nikiachwa na dudhi ya mwisho, my friend, utaona fire. Some of us, when you see us in these towns, tafadhali, just know that we have come from deepest of the places. And by the way, that is not the deepest. For information, my father snatched us from where he used to live in Mbeere North, where he is born. Akatupeleka Mbeere South, somewhere where they look like there will be some light. Ndio tupate education. Ukisikia tukiongea kizungu huku ni by mercies of God. You better know that. You better know that, so that mwache kutusi wa Mbeere hapa mkisema, me even to date, from the town that we call town to our home area, it's 13 km rough road. Those people who have come to our home know. Yeah? Unafika huko mashinani, watoto wanatokelezea kuangalia kuona gari. Kuona gari. You understand that kind of backwardness? Watu wanaona gari, wanashangaa. What? Like, how do you let me tell you. Now, where my dad snatched us, where he moved us so that we can see some light, we used to, for a long time, acha tu juzi kumekuja motorbike, mnapanda motorbike kama tu barabara kidogo kidogo hivi muna struggle your way out. We used to walk from morning, 8 in the morning. Kwanza unatoka mapema before jua itoke, like 6 in the morning. You walk the whole day, utafika wakifungia ng'ombe jioni. Because there is no way you are going to use anything. There is no means of transport. And that is from commuting from Mbeere South now to Mbeere North. That is the center of poverty, you guys. You don't know. You don't know. You just don't know. And I wish you guys can just share this. Just know, ukiona mtu anapewa dhao tatu, apeane hiyo ID. They just have to do that. And even me, if it was me those days, let's say just right now, God has been merciful. Tumesoma kidogo, Mungu ametupea a few coins here and there, so we are able to manage our lives. We are able to do 1, 2, 3, 4. But let me tell you, poverty in Mbeere South and Mbeere North. You guys, you better come mkuje mtembee huko muone. You go to places you're wondering, my God, where are we? So ukiona mtu anachukua 3,000 surely that had just to happen. Yeah. People voted Karish in. People loved Karish. People love Karish. People love that guy. Yeah? And people don't know the guy who was voted in. That's the truth. People do not know him. They voted the government. They voted money. They voted Sicily. They voted Kindiki. They voted Rocco. They do not know.
Have a listen. I don't come from Mbeere. People who come from that area can give us a glimpse of what do you think about that. Now, as I told you guys, I am producing this video from Magarini, from Kilifi. Now, in Kilifi, this video emerged. Voters were being bribed. So, Kilifi is, as you said, that Magarini is where Speaker Kingi comes from. It's one of the poorest. In terms of infrastructure development, Uko, I'm telling you, I've been here. Uko is one of the poorest areas in terms of infrastructure development. And some of these areas are very prone to, they're very vulnerable to these inducements. And I think even when the president was planning, trying to pick where to occasion a by-election, he strategically picked the Mbeere North because probably he knew the dynamics there, one of the semi-arid areas, and they went to Mbeere North telling them about development. I want you to remember, even in Mbeere North, someone had to take, PS Wachira had to take some polls because kuna places zingine hata kuona stima. Hata kuona stima. Look at this is like this is a polling station in Magarini. Look at this. This is a polling station in this country. So some of these places, it could be true, but people who come from Mbeere can better explain to us. It could be true that they are a bit more poorer, that these inducements look like it's the new thing. I want to see here the public bravado of chest thumping and confidence casting by the UDA team is just for public perception. But behind closed doors, there are three factors that are not leaving Kenya Kwanza, that are not giving them peace. And I want to explain those three factors that has played out in that by-election. Kindly, guys, I'm still reminding you, we are currently between today and tomorrow. We are looking for how we can get money to put the roof kwa nyumba ya Mama Zawadi. So find it in your place, find it in your heart to support us, to partner with us. Any amount, we're doing 100 boat challenge. And even if you can say unabai mabati moja, I believe we'll pull it through. We are making projections that by Tuesday this project should be done. Hii ya turudi Nairobi, tunamaliza ndio tunatoka. But this place is a bit very far. So we really wanted to jenge mpaka tumalize. Just hand over the house, then we go back to Nairobi. Kindly partner with us. The budget for everything around 50,000. Kununua mabati, kununua mbao, and kununua msumari. Probably with now the labor that remains with it, by Monday, we should be able to roof this house. Now, three things. The narrow margins cannot be ignored. The Mbeere North, the gap between the candidate who won, Madenge, and Newton Karish, is 400 votes. Can you use that to say, I took over? Of course, you will create perception in other parts of the country. But when you are in the campaign rallies, you can run perception politics. Nimewabwaga, nimewaosha, sawa. But when you sit with your political strategist, do you guys take comfort that I have taken over Mount Kenya, I've taken back Mount Kenya? Do you take comfort on that? And because of the narrow margins, that is why state players are plotting to reach out to other opposition candidates to bring them. Remember, wanajua hawana pesa. So sasa hiyo wakipewa some job appointment there, watasanya pesa ku campaign next year. The narrow margins means in Mbeere North, for Kindiki to have pulled the votes, the rigged 15,000 votes, he did 50 meetings with 17 rallies, with the 12 empowerment forums in the same area for the last 3 months. That is one constituency. Now, when you will be vying for presidency, if you are doing 17 rallies to battle opposition candidate, one constituency, and this is not just Mbeere. Look at the amount of money that was spent in Malava. Look at a lot of intimidation that was done in Malava. Will you be able to replicate that in the whole country? No. And the neck-to-neck tie only means that this was predominantly a region that was supporting you to the last man. It will be ambitious to say that Rigathi has taken whole Mount Kenya. No. But the opposition is also gaining. Because the question is, who is winning? Who is losing? It is the UDA that is losing its vote. Opposition had not tried, so they don't know how much they had there. The narrow margins also indicates that while your message is on this development, it is not that much overwhelming. And probably it's because of the other inducements that the vote you got, you actually bought that vote. You bought your vote. The votes you get, you bought them. The narrow margins. The second factor here is the voter apathy. Predominantly, or ideally, by-elections don't have a big turnout. Yes, and I agree that sometimes people rarely, like people who register in some of those constituencies, they don't come. They don't leave their jobs to go and vote down there. However, there is some pattern you need to see. Look at the by-election in Mount Kenya, the turnout of the by-election in Mbeere North, the turnout for the by-election in Mumbini Ward, that one that was won by Wiper, and then compare that with the turnout in Malava and Siaya and Kasipul. Kasipul, less than 30%. Yes, it's low, but it's too low. Ugenya, broad-based county, the turnout was low. And you can replicate it. Magarini was worst, less than 20. Now, what am I saying? While you can interpret it as low voter turnout, but it's also an indicator of voter apathy or fatigue. People are just tired, or people are detached of that apathy. Now, as a politician, you need to win by charging your business. Now, even in, there is a ward, a Rift Valley, and the governor race in, the senator race in Baringo, the turnout was poor. Now, if you cannot charge your bases, like apart from Rift Valley, that is president's base, which other base does he have? And if you cannot charge some base to rise for the occasion for you, which he was looking for the Luo to rise for that occasion, just to get worried. I also feel the Gen Z never voted. Someone has argued that they were not interested in the by-election. And the only problem was William Ruto. They can probably turn out when William Ruto is the one on the ballot. I think it was the president's handlers wanted to see if Gen Z vote. I know they were looking at the lines, how many young people are in the lines. If they're to vote, how was going to be their voting pattern? And the by-election was a time to test their voting pattern, but they never voted. If a candidate will charge them to go and vote, how will it turn out? Probably yes, you've won the village folks. But is that Gen Z demographic existing? And that is why I agree with those who are saying the only people, and I keep on saying, the only people that can change the tide in the country is the Gen Z vote, which is not there. Our mothers have been bribed, and they have a lot of political patronage. Wewe ndio unaweza amka pige kura. Thank you.